Final round of the Masters. What sort of history would we see? Billed as Rory McIlroy versus Bryson DeChambeau. McIlroy looking to become the sixth player to complete the career slam, and at times it felt like years lived within this day for McIlroy, who conceded his two-shot advantage with a double at the first. Somehow, getting up off the mat time and again on Sunday, we find him at number 10 with a four-shot lead. From 189 yards, Rory hits the eject button, but this one all over it gives himself a chance at birdie. Take another look as the follow-through was questionable. The putt, no such doubt. Drops it for birdie, a five-shot advantage over Bryson. We rejoined DeChambeau at number 11. Trying to keep pace with Rory, but issues throughout the week on approach play and certainly here on Sunday. Hard to challenge that pin at 11 all the way back left. Bryson has his hand forced and he exits stage left. Double bogey for Bryson, who'd finish in fifth at 7 under, a final round 75, his first round not in the 60s this week. Meanwhile, the 36 and 18-hole leader, Justin Rose, loitering after a strong first 9. 4 birdies already on his second. Here at the par 3 16th. Not your traditional low side pin, this an ode to Jack. Some 50 years ago up on the top plateau, and no matter where you put it, Rosie likes it. 171 yards to 5 feet, Rose in bloom. Simultaneously, McIlroy misstepping at 13. Playing conservatively with a large lead, elects to lay up this wedge from 86 yards. Well off his intended start line, and it finds Rays Creek. Drama injected back into this tournament. McIlroy, another double bogey, his 4th of the week. No player has made 4 double bogeys and gone on to win a Masters in that same week. Back to Rose at 16, the birdie, yes. Now a share of the lead, we're tied at 11 under. Ludwig Åberg, not to be ignored on this Masters Sunday, your runner-up a year ago, trying to stay in the mix as well as McIlroy comes back to the pack. Ludwig one deeper, just 1 shot back at 10 under. McIlroy, more trouble at the par 4 14th. Compounding issues the way he started the day, but would this be the end? Trying to save par. It hangs on the lip. McIlroy goes double bogey, bogey. He cannot believe it, nor could we, frankly. Now Rose, a huge par look of his own at the par 4 17th. An up and down second 9 for Rosie. The moment only growing, and he misses on the left side. A bogey there to drop to 10 under, only 1 par on his second 9 Sunday. Now a 3-way tie atop the leaderboard. McIlroy, Rose, and Åberg. Back to Mac, par 5 15th, where he offered that thing of beauty on Saturday, again walking after it on Sunday, and why not? McIlroy on in 2, good, and getting better. To 6 feet, Rory, yet another bounce back off the mat. Could the Mac man deliver? From 6 feet for eagle. Could catapult 2 clear, and another wandering stroke. A tap-in birdie, a solo lead at 11 under, but maybe an opportunity squandered there. Meantime, Rose with 1 hole to play on the 72nd green. Again, Rosie offering one more roar of his own with pace, applies pressure, enters the clubhouse with a share of the lead at 11 under. Rory still 2 to play and the task clear. Must play them in 1 under for the career Grand Slam. He loves this one as well, and so he should. Second shot into 17, beneath the hole, 2 feet. Gutsy stuff from Rory. The birdie putt, and again, a solo lead to 12 under. Rose on the practice facility trying to stay loose in case of a potential playoff. McIlroy just a par at the last, and it's yours. His approach into the last. He's leaning on it. Didn't love it in the bunker. Now up and down from there. Not making it easy on himself. McIlroy, a little heavy out of the sand. Gonna have 5 feet for history. Short putts missed at majors, part of the story for McIlroy, and again, heartbreak. It slides by on the left side with history still hanging in the balance. We head to a playoff. First time since 2017 we get a playoff at the Masters. Then it was Sergio over Justin Rose. Justin Rose back in a playoff at the Masters, this time facing off with Rory McIlroy. Both players find fairway successfully. Rose's approach into 18, a thing of beauty. Nearly holes it for eagle. Instead, he's got 15 or so feet back down the hill. Rory's approach, almost carbon copy to the one he deposited in bunker in regulation, but this time, it's his moment. McIlroy back down the ridge and to 4 feet. Is it his time? Rose looking to apply more pressure. His birdie bid goes begging on the right side. He'd clean up par, and the stage again set for McIlroy. 4 feet for the career slam. A green jacket. McIlroy, as grand as it gets. His first birdie on the 18th hole at Augusta National in some 3 years, and the perfect time for it. Emotion pouring out of the sixth player to complete the career Grand Slam. Slipping into something green, McIlroy, at long last, a Masters champion, as he ties the largest first-round deficit by an eventual champion. He was 7 back after that day marked by doubles to start on Thursday, but all the way back, Rory McIlroy comes, and in a playoff, your winner at the Masters.
It's a dream come true. I've dreamt about that moment for as long as I can remember. I mentioned it out in the prize ceremony, but watching Tiger here in 1997 do what he did and winning his first green jacket, I think that inspired so many of my generation to want to emulate what he did. And you know, there were points in my career where I didn't know if I would have this nice garment over my shoulders, but I didn't make it easy today. I certainly didn't make it easy. I was nervous. It was one of the toughest days I've ever had on the golf course. In a funny way, I feel like the double bogey at the first sort of settled my nerves. And it's funny, walking to the second tee, the first thing that popped into my head was John Rahm a couple of years ago making double and going on to win. So, you know, at least my mind was in the right place and was at least thinking positively about it. But just a complete roller coaster of a day. You know, it was very tricky out there. It almost felt more like a US Open than a Masters at some points, just with how firm and fast the greens got. But yeah, just really proud of how I bounced back from you know, from the double on 1, from the double on 13. I don't know if any Masters champions had 4 doubles during the week, but maybe I'm the first. But yeah, just a complete roller coaster of emotions today, and honestly, you know, what came out of me on the last green there in the playoff was, you know, at least 11 years, if not 14 years of pent-up emotion. You know, since 2011, I think it's so ironic as well. I got to my locker this morning and I opened it up, and there was a note in there from Angel Cabrera, and just wishing me luck. And Angel Cabrera was the player I played with in the final day in 2011. So just it was a nice touch and a little bit ironic at the same time. And it's been 14 long years, but thankfully I got the job done.
With that jacket now in his closet, worth every single day of waiting, McIlroy joins an elite list, and I fear that is the understatement of the day. Gene Sarazen in 1935, Ben Hogan in 53, Gary Player in 65, Nicklaus in 66, Woods, our most recent, a quarter century ago. Rory McIlroy now in possession of the career Grand Slam, and the only since Sarazen to do it at the Masters.
Look at the long shadows. Symbolic at this moment of the journey it's taken to get here, for all this history.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his Masters masterpiece.
Finally, his moment in the sun, Rory McIlroy, your Masters champion. And for more, we'll take you out to Augusta National, where Rick Gehman and Patrick McDonald offer their thoughts. Gentlemen, what a journey. The last 11 years, the last 5 hours, what a journey. Rick, take me through your vantage point and all you felt over that second 9.
I felt a lot of emotions. I can't imagine what Rory McIlroy felt. We were lucky enough to pick him up. We wanted to see him hit that tee shot on 10 with a multiple shot lead. That felt like we were coming full circle. He piped one down there on 10, Patrick, and it seemed like it was going to just be a walk in the park, right? I think it got up to 4 shots after the 10th hole, and as you're following him through Amen Corner, you're starting to see, you know, a few cracks in the game, and then the big mistake on 13 to make double bogey there, and it is sending shockwaves through the crowd, because at the same time, Justin Rose is making his move, Ludwig Åberg is making his move. This is a situation where anything can happen, and it feels again like it's slipping away from Rory McIlroy. He's able to tighten it up. He's able to eventually get into a playoff, but this was just exhausting.
The 89th Masters might have taken 89 years off of both of our lives with that performance. We were walking down 11. We saw him kind of shoot it through the trees there. We saw Bryson dump it in the water left, and we thought, okay, you know, is this potentially game over here after he got it over Rae's Creek on number 12? And then I heard a patron say, like, it's never easy with this guy. And lo and behold, we see on number 13 kind of overcoming those demons. We talked about it all week. He had to overcome Bryson DeChambeau, that U.S. Open nightmare. He had to overcome really poor wedge shots down the stretch. We talked that on number 13, just leaving that out to the right, a very weak shot. And then again there on number 18. And I think it's just extremely poetic. You could not write a better story that Rory McIlroy had 125 yards into 18 in regulation, doesn't get the job done, makes bogey, falls back into that playoff, and then Musso gets the yardage next time, 125 yards up the hill, and he absolutely stuffs it. That is about as Rory McIlroy as it gets.
That was ready player 2 there, and player 2 came up big to put that one tight enough for Rory to just eke it in for this career Grand Slam. The micro moments, shot by shot, like you said, it took some time off of all of our lives that were rooting for Rory McIlroy to complete this feat, but you add it all up, and it is a grand history. For the first time in the last quarter century and just the second time since 1966, we have a career Grand Slam complete, and completed at this place, Rick. How does this situate in Masters history? I know we're so soon removed from it, but when we look back at this moment, it's certainly going to be up there.
Yeah, we can't really overstate the history of it, right? We were spoiled by living through a Tiger Woods era. That's not normal. You know, things like this don't happen on a regular basis. And for Rory McIlroy to complete it here on his 11th attempt to complete it, on his 17th trip around Augusta National, these hallowed grounds, and I can tell you, I thought before the round this might be split between a pro Bryson and a pro Rory McIlroy crowd. I was wrong. This was all in favor of Rory McIlroy. Everyone from first tee to 18th green to the clubhouse to the parking lot, they were all pro Rory McIlroy. This place went absolutely bonkers when he got the job done.
I live in the recency bias, Rick, so I'm willing to call it the greatest Masters of all time. I know we had 19. I know we're 50 years removed from Jack's 5th, and then obviously the subsequent 6. But with everything that this man has gone through on the major stage, especially this last half decade, coming so close time and time again. St. Andrews, the 150th Open Championship, the history at potentially winning at the home of golf and not coming through. The U.S. Open 23 and 24, and to get across the finish line here, where everyone was just pulling him to that finish line, willing him to victory. All the groans we heard in the pine trees when McIlroy makes 7 on 13. To me, it is one of the greatest Masters ever, given the history, given the player, and given the implications that we saw today.
You outlined those near misses. LACC also in the canon. The scar tissue here at Augusta National, well documented as well. Patrick, what has it taken for this character to endure over time? Because So much of Rory McIlroy's life over the last 5 years, on and off course, has been at the middle of our conversation. The conversation now concludes with Masters champion. How has he completed that task?
I think he's done a lot of work on himself, I would say, and I think he's realized these past few years all the noise is just noise. Who cares about what's going on in the world of professional golf? Who cares who's writing about you? Who cares who's talking about you? You're Rory freaking McIlroy. You are a now 5-time major champion. You shouldn't care about any of that noise. And Joe, we heard it all week. The way he was talking, you could not have pictured it any better. I want to be in my cocoon. I want to be in my bubble. It's all about me. It's all about the shot in front of me. It's okay to be selfish in this game. The greats are always selfish in this game. And I think Rory McIlroy realized he was getting pulled every which way these past few years. It's time to focus on himself, and we saw that.
This was a microcosm, Joe. I mean, he made a double on the first hole. He made a double on the 13th. He's now made 4 doubles this week. He's probably the only guy to ever win a green jacket doing that. I know Faldo made a double on number 1 in the final round of his latest Masters championship. But that's a microcosm because time and time again he has gotten close over the last decade and he has fallen short, and he has gotten up and he's put himself in another great position to do it again. And he has been knocked down more recently than he would have liked, but every single time he has gotten up, and now I cannot even imagine the amount of relief. We saw it. I mean, him crumbling to the ground on the 18th green and immediately into tears. He's going to feel 300 pounds lighter tomorrow morning with the weight that's just been lifted off his shoulders.
The weight of that garment put on his shoulders and the weight of the world coming off of it simultaneously. We're going to take you inside Butler Cabin here for a look at Rory McIlroy now adorned in green as the moment has come. Scottie Scheffler, last year's champion and forever a champion, putting that long-awaited jacket on Rory McIlroy's shoulders. Another exhale there from Roars. Gentlemen, I know you want to take that moment in real time, but you allude to it there, Rick. It is a freedom, in a sense, for Rory McIlroy to exhale. And when I look at the upcoming major venues, those all have his name on them in some way or another as well. How does this free up McIlroy for the rest of this season and beyond?
That was the first time we saw that. That was cool to see. You know, we've talked about this. We've dreamt about this, right? You know, the idea that Rory McIlroy, if he was ever going to, get over this inability to complete the career Grand Slam and get that freedom back, how would that allow him to perform in future major championships? Well, now there's nothing to say about Rory McIlroy, right? You can't say it's been 11 years. You can't say, well, he's never won the Masters. You can't say, well, he can't complete the career Grand Slam. You can't say, well, Brooks has got him. You can't say anything anymore. And the lack of criticism that he is going to have going to Quail Hollow, a place that he absolutely destroys, going to Oakmont, a place that should set up very well for him, and going back to Portrush for the Open Championship, I'm not going to get out over my skis here. I promise I'm not. I'm not going to give him this. Yeah, okay, maybe he wins the Slam this year as well.
Yeah, we're talking career Slam, season Slam. I think it really just washes away all that scar tissue, doesn't it? Thinking about how close he's gotten time and again, and all of that is vanished. It's gone. It's washed over. And this Masters Championship really serves as a multiplier. You were mentioning it, Rick. It's no longer but, it's and. Right. He's a career Grand Slam winner and all those FedEx Cups. He's a 5-time major winner and all those PGA Tour wins, all the race to Dubai. And so he no longer has to carry that weight around anymore. And with Rory McIlroy, as good as he's playing, it's almost like Steph. It's almost like Tom Brady winning those Super Bowls late. It seems like he's better now than ever.
Yes. Certainly feels like the sport runs through Rory McIlroy, and this confirms it at the Masters as he completes the career Slam. Rick Gehman, Patrick McDonald, what a day, fellas. Thank you for your insight. Quite a season he's putting together here as we are halfway through April. Pebble, Sawgrass, Augusta National. 3 biggest events on the schedule. They all belong to Rory McIlroy. During pre-tournament media, now 5-time major champion Rory McIlroy revealed this week he was reading The Reckoning, a novel unfolding through flashbacks of the horror of a main character once lived. At moments it appeared those ghosts had returned on Sunday, but resilience reigns supreme as McIlroy claims the Masters. We'll take you back out to Augusta National, where Rick Gehman and Patrick McDonald offer further analysis here, and we're going to broaden beyond just McIlroy. But again, a thought here on our major champion, on our Grand Slam winner. Rick, with a couple more minutes to digest what we just took in, the historical significance, of this moment for Rory McIlroy. Did you ever think you'd see it?
No, Joe, I really don't think I did, and I still couldn't really believe it as it was happening. I'm still not sure it has sunk in yet. I think when I see more images of Rory in the green jacket and hearing what he has to say afterwards, I think that will really help. But this was getting away from him. And I think the word of the week is resilient. We've heard that a bunch already, and I think it's just the perfect way to describe him. You know, it is difficult to overstate how much the air was sucked out of Augusta National when Rory McIlroy made a pretty ugly double bogey on the first hole. I mean, he played his first 2 holes around this place in 11 strokes. It's horrible. He'll be the first to tell you that. I'm sure he'll bring it up later. But for him to not only then get through the 4th hole, where he had then extended his lead from 2 shots to 3 shots, he had got it up to 4 by the turn. He gives it back. I mean, just the up and down nature of this round, Patrick, the only thing that I can think about is resilience.
It was pure Rory McIlroy, right? The saying is, right when I'm out, he pulls me back in. That is what Rory McIlroy, being a fan of him, is like. He gets you just so close at the major championship shortcomings, those U.S. Opens, the Open at St. Andrew. He breaks his heart. He breaks your heart, too. And guess what? You dust yourself off. You're on to the next major championship, where he's going to give himself a chance. And this round was exactly that. An ugly 3-putt double bogey on number 1, making 4 throughout the entire week. No one has ever done that. Just coughing up strokes. And then you come back with the shots on 15 over the weekend, Rick. Just unbelievable mid-irons, lasered to pin high, kicked in that birdie today, wasn't able to cash in the eagle, but it was vintage Rory McIlroy from a holistic standpoint, right? He's not normally this up and down from round to round within a round, but throughout his career, the way he makes you feel is just like that, and it's really a picture-perfect ending.
Yeah, bookend double-doubles on Thursday and on Sunday. It sounds like an extended buddies trip, not the Masters, but that is the case for Rory McIlroy, who, as you said, does become the first to do so. Craig Stadler had made 3 in his eventual win, but never before had we seen 4. It was interesting what we saw next to Rory McIlroy. It was exit stage left around 11 for Bryson DeChambeau. I do want to check my notes here to make sure I have the number right. We have 1,235 total shots taken this week on the range, plus the first 3 rounds. Add the 75 to that from this day. He was trying to cobble something together, or so it felt. Patrick, what did you make of the lack of a push from Bryson on Sunday?
I was disappointed, especially when you think about the beginning, Rick, right? I mean, this guy had the lead after the first 2 holes, and then it just completely got away with him with how he played number 3. And you think about that stretch 3 through 5 throughout Bryson DeChambeau's career, you think it's one where he could take advantage of his length, driving it up there close to 3, the long par 3 4th, the long par 4 5th. And he entered this week, Rick, 22 over for his career at the Masters in that stretch. And we saw Rory really settle in during that run with that touchy chip shot on 3 to really settle the nerves, applied a lot of pressure on Bryson on the next hole as well. And then we saw there on 11, I think he tried to push. He was in the middle of the fairway. He saw Rory McIlroy in trouble off the green to the right. He said, okay, this is my time. And we all know when you try to push on 11, it pushes back. For the 2nd straight year, it has done that. So obviously a disappointing final round for Bryson DeChambeau, but I think one that he'll come back to and learn a lot from.
Yeah, Joe, you mentioned the 1,200 plus shots he hit this week. We don't know if he's up there right now. He might be adding to them as we speak, but I do think it is interesting. I thought Patrick nailed the assessment there in terms of trying to make up ground in a spot of the golf course that you can't make up. I mean, he could feel it. He could feel that the championship was slipping away from him, and he tried to hit a hero shot, and I commend him for that. I think that he cares nothing about second place, and he only cares about the top prize and putting on a green jacket, and he went for it, and it did not work out. We've seen it countless times at the Masters, and we are going to see it countless more over the next 10 or 15 years. The other thing that I consider it kind of eventually caught up with him is that lack of distance control between that 150 and that 200-yard mark. He struggled with it. We saw him grinding on it all week. Just couldn't get that number dialed in, and just the little mistakes, being on the wrong side of things, they add up so quickly here. So a disappointing Sunday for Bryson, especially after taking the lead early, but he has really found a way to play unbelievable major championship golf.
Yeah, no matter who you are, free golf balls are free golf balls. Bryson DeChambeau injecting himself into the conversation throughout the week, but he was not our antagonist at the end. Instead, that was Justin Rose, the unlikely 18 and 36 hole leader, offers a jolt at the 72nd hole to eventually force this playoff, but the last two playoffs at Augusta National, he's been on the wrong side of. This has to be a moment in Rose's career that feels again like an opportunity squandered, Rick, but he comports himself, I think, as good as he can in this moment.
For sure, Joe. And Rosie will not get the proper due for this week because every story will be about Rory McIlroy moving forward. Rosie will probably not get enough due for how well he's played at Augusta National in his career. You mentioned it. He's been in each of the last two playoffs. He has all of those leads after rounds. He's got more rounds than anybody leading after without having a green jacket. And what he has really done in the last year or two is he's leaned into some of the better parts of his game. You know, he is in terms of golfers' primes, you know, he's on the wrong side of 40 certainly, but he is able to play his best golf. And Patrick, we talked about it before the week. Now 8 straight major championships where Rosie has either finished inside the top 10 or missed the cut. So when he gets into the mix, he's in the mix. He's got staying power.
I'm absolutely gutted.
You were gutted about it.
I am gutted for Rosie just because I thought a Masters tournament win would really bring to light his entire career. You talked about the Masters career, but he has been such a great champion of the game, and I think a very underrated one also. A former world #1, an Olympic gold medalist, coming out as an amateur and contending at the Open, and all the accolades around the world, including that U.S. Open win at Marion over Phil Mickelson. It felt like if he added a green jacket to that, he'd probably get the proper appreciation that he deserves throughout his career. And unfortunately, he just fell on the wrong side of a playoff in Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, and Joe, one final nugget there. I mean, a lot of these guys who are one-time major champions, they feel that the second one validates the first one, right? And it's just such a huge thing for these guys. And Rosie's had a couple of cracks at it, hasn't been able to do it. But to Patrick's larger point, I don't think that takes away from his career as a great champion.
He presented himself nicely here over the final hours of the Masters. But in the end, it's Rory McIlroy, a champion. And I'm taken back to what our colleague Jim Nance said back in 2004 when Phil finally got it done. At long last, it certainly feels that way. Rick Gehman, Patrick McDonald, appreciation as always, friends. You know, what Rory McIlroy just accomplished and this moment in the sun, it cannot be put into monetary terms. No money can buy access into the club that he just joined. A Masters champion, a career Grand Slam. He is a champion confirmed by the game's greatest garment. As the weight of that jacket placed on Rory McIlroy's shoulders, the weight of the world removed. Your winner at the Masters. We now have the privilege of taking you inside Butler Cabin, where 2008 Masters champion and our lead analyst of golf on CBS, Trevor Immelman, joins us. Trevor, the word resilience bounced around quite often this week and throughout that final 5 hours of this tournament. What sort of resilience did you see out of Rory McIlroy on Sunday?
Yeah, it sure did bounce around a lot. In fact, he brought it up earlier this week after Friday's round, because of the stumbles that he had on Thursday. And he wanted to make sure that the narratives of the double bogeys at 15 and 17 on Thursday weren't going to take root. And he started to bounce back. But today, again, all of a sudden, adversity struck right from that first hole. And he had to really dig deeper than he's ever gone before. And what a remarkable finish. Hats off, obviously, to Justin Rose for pushing him right to the end. But this sure was something special. History here from McIlroy at Augusta National.
With this win, he earns admission to the game's most elite club at the game's most elite club. And you look at those names of Sarazen, Hogan, Player, Nicklaus, Woods, and now McIlroy. To say those in order, it certainly makes you feel something. How does this situate historically for Rory?
Well, he goes on to the most elite list in our sport, and we've had to wait so long since Tiger Woods accomplished that. And everybody's been wondering for so many years, McIlroy has the talent, but can he win the Masters? And now on his 11th attempt trying to complete the Grand Slam, he finally gets it done. And you could see exactly what it meant to him after he holed that short putt in the playoff to finally get his hands on a green jacket.
Our first in a quarter century, our second since 1966. Trevor, a fantastic job, as always, from our team with Golf on CBS and what you put forth this weekend. And I'm interested in your experience as a member of that club, now grown to 57, with McIlroy on his way into the room. What will it mean to welcome him in?
Well, look, we've all known for so long that he has the ability to do it. He's come so close here so many times. Everybody is, over the last few years, been holding their breath at the start of the week, seeing if he can finally get it done. And now we get to welcome him with open arms. And he sure is a worthy champion.
Trevor, I do imagine you have a hand to go shake. So with that, I say thank you. Another fantastic week, my friend.
Just an incredible week. Thanks, Moose.
Trevor Immelman joining us from Butler Cabin, where just moments ago, Rory McIlroy minted as a Masters champion, accomplishing the career Grand Slam. In terms of major champions, since the turn of the millennium, McIlroy now on equal footing with Brooks Koepka, his 2 PGAs, his 2 U.S. Opens. McIlroy now checking all 4 boxes. A champion as grand as they come. There are certain Sundays we will never forget. Rory McIlroy with a chance to complete the career Grand Slam in regulation. 5 feet for immortality. The putter plaguing him throughout the day. Wedges as well. This one slides by on the left side, and we head to extra frames. A playoff comprised of Justin Rose and Rory McIlroy, teammates on the European Ryder Cup team. McIlroy having to recollect after that failure at the last. Would it be jubilation when all said and done? Both drives found the fairway at 18 in the playoff. Justin Rose looking like he may have flagged one here. The first hop, dangerously close. Doesn't get the traditional roll off the backstop. It would be a putt from there for Rosie. As for Rory, the same wedge he had in regulation. 125, only this time, no bunker. There's your backstop. Good and getting better. McIlroy, inside 5 feet. Could Rose apply the pressure to his teammate and now foil? Made a big one in regulation, a birdie at the last. This for the birdie in the playoff. It'd be par instead for Rose. The score says it all. For the career Grand Slam, McIlroy, a Masters champion. Jubilation for Rory McIlroy at long last. He touches them all. A grand champion as emotion pours out. McIlroy in an extra hole. The winner of the 89th playing.
নারাকি মাটিতে নারাকি পাটিতে নারাকি পালকের ঘরে নারাকি মাটিতে নারাকি পাটিতে নারাকি পালকের ঘরে স্মৃতির সুন্দরে রাখিব বন্ধুরে স্মৃতির সিন্ধুরে রাখি রাখিব বন্ধুরে বিলিয়ে রে সন্তরে বিলিয়ে রে সন্তরে দিয়া গেলাম রে দিয়া গেলাম রে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে কি জানাতে গাছ বন্ধু পরবাসী পরে ঘরে আসি এত ঘুমে কেন ধরে বন্ধু পরবাসী পরে ঘরে আসি এত ঘুমে কেন ধরে কয়লা ঘরে ধনী পোহাইল রজনী কয়লা ঘরে ধনী পোহাইল রজনী নারীরে দিনের ডরে নারাখিব দিনের ডরে কি জ্বালা দিয়া গেলাম রে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে কি জানি লেখটা নারী প্রেম গেছে কিন্তু না কইরাছে বস্ত্র খুশি খুশি পরে নারী প্রেম গেছে কিন্তু না কইরাছে বস্ত্র খুশি খুশি পরে কবে আসবো হরালি সাধু শত জানি কবে আসবো হরালি কবে আসবো হরালি সাধু শত জানি উদাসী বানাইল মোরে উদাসী বানাইল মোরে কি জ্বালা দিয়া গেলাম মোরে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে দিয়া গেলাম রে নয়নের কাজল পরাণের বন্ধুরে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে না দেখিলে পরাণ করে অনেক